Hey everybody, and welcome. My name is Alex Cooper. It's wonderful to have you in class today. Let me introduce myself a little bit. I teach the computer classes at the Columbia County Libraries. I teach for the Columbia County Library in Evans, the Harlem Library, and the Uchee Creek, now Grovetown Library. Yay! We teach classes. Of course, we're staying home. Staying safe right now, so we're doing all our classes virtually online. So very glad that you're here joining me today. Feel free to kind of make any comments, post anything in the chat. The big question I always like to ask is, how can I help? One of the things is you need to make sure that you're logged into YouTube to be able to post comments into our chat, or ask questions, to like or subscribe to our channel as well. Okay, so do realize that you do need to be logged into YouTube for all that. Today's class is we're going to be doing the Google Suite. So very glad that you're here with me. Sweet, glad you're here with me. Tuesday we did Google School, so this is kind of a continuation of our Google topic. This class we covered Google search tips, Google Books, Google Maps. That video is still up and available on the YouTube channel. Also, we talked about Google Shopping, Translate, and many other services. A lot of fun stuff. We even talked about Google Cardboard a little bit too. This morning we did one of our newer classes. We did video creating basics. That was a great class. I hope you enjoyed that. Not only did we create a slideshow with that, making video, adding sound to it, but we learned a whole lot more about the Windows Photo app and its video editor. Okay, so we did with 3D models, we added special effects, and we also imported videos, and we learned about slicing them, trimming them, putting them in special, and adding special effects and music to them. Now, this afternoon, we're going to cover the Google Suite 101 at 2:30. Well, that's us right now. Google Suite 101. And tomorrow, and I'll disappear for a moment. And tomorrow, we're actually going to be doing eBay and Facebook Marketplace, internet buying and selling, basics. And tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be doing birding. Yay. Birding is one of my favorite classes. Hope you'll come and join me for that. Just a little side note, our libraries are open to the public with limited services and hours. Curbside holds pickup is available. You can go to gchrl.org for more details or call the library for questions Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're happy to answer any questions you have. And please don't forget to like our videos and like our Facebook page, and you'll be up to date. And keep an eye out for other virtual programs. A great way to find our YouTube channel, of course, we're on that channel right now, is just to search GCHRL videos. So let's go ahead and let's get started talking about our Google Suite. Okay, sweet. Now I do have a handout, and I will be posting the handout into our chat. Just give me one moment. I'll have that posted. Now, have you used the Google Suite before? Let's see. Give me a moment. I have to upload the file real quick. Okay, now okay, it's still uploading. Give me a minute. And switch to anyone. Alright, there we go. So here's our handout. What we normally do in class is basically we'd have everybody be at their own computer, and we'd have the handout so you could follow along. And a good idea, I like to say, is kind of have me in a like a cell phone or tablet or something, and then you can actually follow along with our handout on our main screen. All right, so I'm going to disappear. We'll go ahead and kind of get started. So today we're going to talk about Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. Okay. One big thing about coming to one of the live classes is you can't actually ask me questions. And I'm happy to help and answer those in any way I can. All right, let's talk about what we're going to cover this afternoon. We're going to talk about what is Google Drive and Docs. We're going to talk about Google Docs, editors, introduction, the difference between this and Microsoft Office files. We're going to talk about Google Drive, Google Docs, Simple Document, Google Sheets, and show a simple button, create a simple budget. And we'll do Google Slides and create a simple presentation. So with our class, and we'll wrap up class about 4:30 or so, we're going to cover a lot of topics, and it won't be too in-depth because mostly we do actually have a separate Word, PowerPoint, and Excel class. But this is kind of a bit of an introduction to those, okay? So definitely feel free to post any kind of questions in the chat. Like I said, if you're going to do that, you do have to be logged into YouTube. And let's go ahead and let's get started. So what is Google Drive and Google Docs? Now, who has used Google Drive and Google Docs before? Okay. A big thing with this is that if you got a Chromebook device, and of course, you can access all of this using just a regular browser like Microsoft Edge, Firefox, and or Google Chrome as well. Google Chrome browser has a few little extras in there, but if you are using a Chromebook, this is the main program that you can use. Okay, to back up to the cloud and everything. So the big one is to go to Google Drive. .google.com. We're going to talk about uploading our files, and what I'll do with the handout is I actually will talk, and then I'll come back and kind of go flip back and forth. So the handout, I'll cover the handout, and then we'll kind of jump back and forth. Okay. So we'll talk about how you can sync your files, upload files for free. We actually get 15 gigs of space. Okay. You already have a Google Docs account if you just have, like a Gmail or something, or if you're using the Google Photos. The available apps are basically Google Docs, online, word processor, a spreadsheet program, presentation, being able to save our files online and in the cloud. And a big one is that we can share our work with others. So let me go ahead and pull that up now. All right, so here we are at Google Drive. Basically with Google Drive, you can upload your files if you want to. There is an app that you can actually download and synchronize with the Google Drive desktop. I won't go into that too much. Mostly we're trying to focus on, of course, using the Google suite of apps and stuff. So a big one here is if I go over here and I can see all my files. I also have my Drive, files that I'm sharing, trash, starred, and it also tells me how much storage I have. Now, I'm actually using the libraries service, so it does say 30 gigs instead of it saying the free normal 15. Okay. Now, if I go up here to new, of course, I can click on all these. These are my files in the cloud. Click over here. I see where it says folder. I can make a new folder if I want to, just like you can on the normal desktop. Back up your stuff, and of course access it from pretty much any web browser. Okay. If we want to upload a file, we can click here to upload. And we also have Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and here's the more. These are the extra ones as well. But let's go ahead and let's talk about what we're going to cover. So our Google Drive, it actually pops up and we have our different sections, okay? uploading files, PDFs. Now you can store non-PowerPoint, non-Word, and Excel files. You can actually just upload videos. This is a great way to be able to email a large folder or a large video to someone if you need to, or just a big file in general. The biggest ones that they kind of break up here, it talks about the different categories that we have. Uploading different file types. Okay. You can zip files and upload them as well. And I just kind of pointed out the backup and sync. Now, I will tell you this, some folks actually are not 100% sure how the backup and sync works. Really, the backup and sync app, unlike the Photos app, which we talked more about in the camera class, it's fantastic. It's great to use. The backup really is a sync program. So if you are trying to just use it as a backup, the problem is once you delete the files off your main computer, if it connects up to the server again, it may actually download files that you've already deleted from your computer because it's trying to synchronize them, okay? Or synchronize a folder. You may need to create a new folder, put the files in there, and then you can use it as a backup, synchronizing your documents that way. And that's a great way to use it for the photos and videos as well, okay? So like I said, you may actually have to create something new, Drive, but that's a little bit great. Another great way to use Google Drive, okay? So we talked about there's a flat out just upload a file. You can choose the different file types. All file types are actually supported, but only the ones that the program supports will allow you to view them online, okay? But again, we are using it as a storage format, or platform, I guess that would be the right word. 15 gigs of space is what they give you to begin with. And if you want more than that, there's just a small fee for that, and that's all through Google. A little bit more information about backing up your files. And let's go ahead and let's jump into Google Docs, okay? Okay, so I basically, let me pull that back up. I could go directly typing in docs that way, this URL right here. But let's talk about what we're going to have. Now, of course, if you've used Word before, this should seem very familiar, okay? But we are going to talk about some extra things that the Google Docs can do that you can't do with Word as easily, because add-ons is one of the big things that we can actually do. So we have our main format, of course, just pulling up, logging into our account, being able to have access very easily to our documents, typing something, and of course we'll talk about sharing later. Collaboration is a huge one. Okay, so we're talking about editing our document, creating our document, and I've got some more information on that, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up, and let's start a project. So let's do new. I'm going to go Google Docs. It's going to automatically log me in, and we also have a nice name at the top, okay? So let's do something. We're going to do a birding class tomorrow. So why don't we call this birding, and it'll be nice because when we look for some pictures, we'll actually be able to post some birding pictures of birds in our section. So we'll call this birding project. Okay. Now, once I click away, it automatically has already saved it to the cloud, okay? So it's kind of working with less saving, having to worry about that. So let's just kind of walk around here. Here's our file, edit, view, and everything. So if we do file, now remember we could upload the other file. Now, can we download to a Word doc? Yes, you can. Just click File, Download, and it will let you download to a Word file. Okay. Are there other formats? Yes, there are. The Word doc is really the main one that people want to view. Okay. Now, it makes it very easy to email. It will be using, of course, your Gmail email if you use this. Okay. And we have more options like move, of course, our big share button as well. And if we just kind of go through our menu, here's our undo. If we're not sure any of these little icons, if we take our mouse and kind of hover over them, it'll let us know. Edit, there's undo, of course there's paste, there's view, there's insert, which we'll use later when we are inserting an image. There's format, look a little familiar. We have most of this on the main page. Spelling and grammar, which Word now is calling it editor. So just kind of a little side note, the new version of Word calls it editor. And add-ons, which we'll play around with a little bit later. Okay. Of course, if you have any questions, do help, and you can usually find the right answer. And they do have some training that I kind of recommend as well. So again, let's kind of hover over what we see. One of the ways this prints is it actually saves it as a PDF file and tries to open it that way. Spelling and grammar, and here's our zoom level. Okay. Normal text, and here's our different types of fonts. Okay, font size, bold, italics. As you see, it pops down and lets us see a little preview about what that the button is supposed to be. Okay, alignment, all that kind of good stuff. And there's different editing modes too. One that will actually give suggestions. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start our project. Let's say welcome to birding, and let's start talking about what we're going to do. Get away. All right, so we started our project. We learned about undo and redo. We also learned about editing our document. Okay. Interesting thing is about doing the pixel book a little bit. In our handout, we actually have sunflowers. Of course, we're doing birding, but we'll get into that too. So we have sunflower poem. We're going to do welcome to birding, and we're just going to say something about great to have you in class, and then we'll insert our picture. Okay. Pretty basic. Whoop. Pretty basic, project. Welcome to birding. It's going to try to start helping me. So welcome to birding. Hope you enjoy learning about bird watching. Let's say got it. Now, of course, how can I change this? I'm a big I recommend a lot going ahead getting your ideas on paper, writing things down, and then coming back and making a change to it. Okay. So I'm going to highlight welcome to birding, and let's look at our section up here. So we have our normal text. We have our different text styles. We also have our fonts. So let's choose an interesting font. Oh, that looks interesting. Big thing about fonts in general is you want to think about your audience. Okay. This actually allows it a very easy way to download more fonts. So if you're familiar with Word, you may say this is not a lot of fonts. You can't actually download more. Here's impact. Let's see. Lobstar. Looks like that's what I was using for the sunflower. Pacifico. Okay, I might actually go with that. I think that looks kind of interesting. I do realize if you are worried about people reading, just try to choose a font that's very clear to read. Now, I do know we're going to make this bigger. So I got to make sure it's highlighted or selected. Make sure the font's bigger. Let's try it 18. Doesn't do a preview like Word. But remember, we're still doing this all in our browser. Okay. And let's change the color. So let's have it highlighted. I can choose bold. Oh, do want to say, so if you do want more fonts, you can click here, say more fonts, and there is a lot of choices here. Okay. And let's say, see, it keeps going, it keeps going. Okay, that looks neat. So if I do that, hit OK. And I think it permanently downloads it. Yeah, it's permanently downloads it. So there are more fonts than just what's listed there. And you go here to view that. Okay. So lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. Okay, I think it keeps loading. I won't guess how many there are. That looks very... Oh, okay, highlight that, and let's say, welcome to birding. Okay, so you can see the fonts, I won't say endless, but there's a lot of them to choose from. Try to think about what kind of mood you're setting with what pictures you're, what type of font you're choosing. Also, there's italics in there, and there's also underline as well. Okay, this allows us to change our text color. One thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to use red, and you definitely don't want to use yellow. Those are two colors, especially someone that's colorblind. It can make it very difficult to read something. Okay. Now, one thing you could do is if you wanted to choose something that will kind of stand out, maybe a very, very dark blue. You can see that it's very clear, easy to read this, even though that this text is black and that's kind of like a dark blue. So maybe a dark color, dark purple, something like that. Even maybe in a dark yellow a little bit. It still should be pretty, easy to read if you want it to be have a little bit different contrast. Kind of think about driving down the road when you see a big billboard. Maybe it's like a pest. They killed pests or bugs or whatever. Pest control. Thank you. Pest control company. Kind of think about their fonts are in different sizes. Their fonts are different colors, and they're trying to break it up by making it kind of interesting to the eye. So kind of think about that when you're doing your projects. Now this one here is kind of like the highlighter. Kind of the tradition is to make the background yellow. Mostly this is for like a long document for yourself. Of course, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just the background. Yeah, the background for just that little area. I have to, let's say none. There we go. So a lot of the times, and this happens with Word too, the highlighter is kind of like a on and off. Okay, turn it on, you turn it off. Okay, now let's talk about our links. How exactly do I insert a link? Now, this being a live, living online document, you can actually send someone something like this and then click links on it as well. So if I click here, the first thing is, and one thing to be careful of just in general is because one thing could say something. So I'll just say Google. And what's the actual address I'm typing in? Oh, it searched for it. That's great. But I could just type in www.google.com or something. There it is. So our text will say Google, but the link is this. And if I hit apply, there you go right there. So when someone opens this, they can quickly just kind of click there and go to that page. Okay. Oh, it looks like they do a preview instead. So with this being online, could it be more of a living document, kind of like a website? Absolutely. Okay, now this next part is about adding comments. Okay, this kind of goes into sharing our document. Okay, but I'll just mention it real quick. It's for two great reasons. One, this could be that more than one person's working on this project. They could click here. You saw it has my name on there, and it actually will show the other people there what, you know, where I was when I clicked there. It's not just kind of a general comment. The other thing on there is if you have like a proofreader person reading on something, even if it's not a shared document, they could use the added comments to make corrections, give suggestions, and there you go right there. All right, so let's talk about our insert an image. And I'll go down to the next line. I'll hit enter. Remember too, and I think I'll go ahead and do this, you can zoom in. Remember, this does not affect the way that your text looks, but you can zoom in and it will be bigger on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click here, say insert image. Now there's one that's upload from computer. Okay, so if you do have a picture on your computer, you do have to upload it. And that's just clicking right there, it'll do it. We can also do a search the web. Okay, it will go back and allow us to look at our Google Drive. We can look at our Google Photos if we have videos, if we have photos uploaded to Google Photos. Okay, makes it very easy to include your own pictures. Here's buying URL address, and of course you can use this to take a picture of your device's camera. Okay, so let me do search the web, and it actually is going to search Google Images. Okay, so I'm going to say birding, or I'll say birds. And we get a bunch of pictures now. These pictures, and sometimes it'll show it if they're non-copyright written or not. Mostly of this is for a money-making venture. It's just for, let's say, educational purposes, or you do give credit to where the website, where you did get the picture. It should be okay as long as you're not trying to sell it like on a t-shirt or something. That you may have to research more about the copyright of the actual picture. I actually like the first one that came up. Fancy. Little birds. Okay, I'm actually going to do the first one because I think it looks pretty good. And I say insert. And then boom, there's my picture. Okay. Looks pretty large right now, doesn't it? Well, let's see if we can resize it. So if I left click on the picture, we actually have the box that appears here. This may look similar to a word. Go ahead here, resize it by left click, hold drag, and it'll move it up higher. Okay. Now, did you notice when I clicked on the picture, some of our settings changed here? Some of our menu moved around a little bit. Okay. So when I go back to my text, you'll see it goes back to what it was before. But if I click my picture, that's the kind of options I get. Now, I won't delve into the some of our other more advanced pictures on here. Mostly this is kind of just an introduction, of course, to our Google suite. But you can rotate it as well if you want to. If you go here, allow you to rotate your picture if you want to. Resize your picture, and you can give it a border if you want to. Let's see, thickness of the line, crop your picture here, reset the image options. You can talk about the text wrapping. Okay, maybe when I move my picture up, if I did want to move my picture, let's say up, maybe I want it to be in between the text like that. If I don't want it to look like that, then I could actually choose something simple and change the wrapping. Okay, similar to Word. Okay, both sides. Let's just see left side. So if I drag that a little bit that way, there we go. So changing the wrapping will allow you to kind of control the text, and it goes into the position. and a lot of extra stuff too. But there you go right there, just by clicking. We'll shoot. That's under crop now. Hang on. Click the picture, reset. Okay, this comes down here a little bit too. Talking about the wrapping as well. Okay, so we can get our picture right where we want it to be. And my scroll up and down wants to move crazy. There we go. Okay, so there we go right there, inserting our picture, searching the web, uploading to our computer. Now we also have our alignment. So this is our heading here. I just need to be on the same line. Okay, so if I go up here, I click alignment, left justification is the default. If I center it, right side, I think center should be good. And this talks about our line spacing. Okay, custom spacing, double space, and then we also have where we talk about numbering as well, okay, or bullet points. Now, one big thing that I always like to talk about is don't forget that a big thing that happens is to control your indention if you're doing the bullet points. So if I click up here, I can increase indention and it'll go sub. If I don't like that, I can just do decrease, and then you're actually in control of the numbering and also the bullet points, okay? And that's using the increase and decrease the indention. Very important, okay? All right, now let's talk about our add-on section. So if I go to add-ons, say get add-ons, and we'll look at each program's add-ons. There's can be a little slightly different, okay? Here's one about charts and being able to do math easily. Let's see, DocuSign. Not all these I'm familiar with, but the word cloud is a really neat one. I've used that one before. Actually install that. I just go install and say continue. May actually have to give it permission. Let's say allow. And I say done. Okay. Oh, now when I do add-on, there's my word cloud generator. And I think I can just have that highlighted, and I do add-on, word cloud generator. How about we do modern? Nope, it says it doesn't have enough words. Anyway, so if I actually did have enough words, it would actually look, see if I can, oh, hang on, I clicked too many times. All right, that's not what I want. Anyway, so I could show you in the get add-on section. So it's very easy if you have more text than what I'm using with. Basically give it some text. It'll basically make a nice little graphic out of it. And I believe this is the one that kind of does the different shapes as well. So it can make your document a little more interesting. It kind of depends on what you're interested in. All right, so if I scroll down to my other add-ons, here's about doing Avery Labels. That's really a big one I'll get asked about, is people say, hey, I want to do home business cards, or I want to do home labels for the mailing addresses, or just some names or something There you go, right there. You pretty much put in the phone number. You put in the label number, and it will pop up and basically set it up the right way for you and just fill it out. Here's about Google Translate add-on, highlight tools. This is where it talks about mail merger, easy table of contents, lots of great add-ons on here. It's about coding, diagrams. So if you are seeing something on here, especially if it's like, Word does this, see if there's an add-on that someone has made that basically turns this into more like the Word that you're kind of used to, okay? Form builder, URL shortener. So yeah, so hopefully this gives you some, kind of ideas about getting ready. Real paper size. There you go. Easy clip art. Unity plagiarism checker. Very important if someone's going to turn in something, make sure that it's not too close to some other document. There's another Word Cloud Docs creator. And it looks like that's kind of it at the time. So lots of add-ons to be able to give more functionality to, your projects. Okay. Okay, now since we did that, we did our basic project. Let's go ahead and let's go to our next one, which of course is Sheets. Okay. Now, I won't go into this too heavy because do realize that there's a whole nother class that we do cover creating a budget, but we're going to make a very, very simple budget and probably one that most people say that they're interested in. I just want a big number and then subtract other numbers and give me an answer, okay? So here's the amount of money I have, subtract money, and then give me an answer. So our big thing is that it's very similar to, of course, the docs that we were just using. It does, of course, have some extra features on here. Merging cells. But like I said, that's like a whole nother class. But this kind of gets into details of the rows and the columns. And, of course, changing it to freeze the columns so you can see those separately as well. Okay? Again, and I'm going to explain the share part at the end. One big thing about having this online is that everyone can work on the same spreadsheet together, and it will actually keep track of who did what and what changes were made. Okay, a big one if you're working on a project, let's say fall festival, little league game kind of thing, or just maybe a personal project as well. So let's talk about a little bit of our basics. So I'm actually going to close this and I'll go back to Drive, click New, and say Sheets. It's also a good point if you do have some kind of advertisement blocker to turn that off when you're using like on an online app like this, okay? All right, so again, we have our title up here. I'm just going to call it Basic Budget. We have our same system going on under File. We could actually click Download and download this as a Microsoft Excel document if we wanted to. So there you go right there, or even as a PDF file. And if you use Open Docs, that's their file format. Open Docs is a Microsoft Office alternative program that's completely free. So we have our inserts. So things look a little more different. Or things look different, I should say. Things look different than what we were dealing with a minute ago in Word. The big thing about this is just kind of realize that each of our little cell blocks here are kind of like their own sheet of paper. Okay, we have our columns, we have our rows. Okay, and like I said, we're just going to make a quick basic budget here. How do I make the rows bigger, and how do I make the columns wider as well? So if I go up in between the A and the B, or the B and the C, whichever I need, when my arrow actually changes, looks like a cross kind of going left and right. And I think I'm actually going to zoom in here. Yeah, so that should make it a little bit bigger. Go in between the A and the B, you'll see kind of a double arrow. Left click, hold, drag to the right. There you go, and you'll make it the width of it wider. And then how do I make a row taller? I get in between the 1 and the 2 and drag down, and then boom, that makes that section bigger. So you'll kind of get used to that, changing the size. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back here. Now I've actually have this so in case you do want to go further, but we are going to make just kind of a nice little basic budget here. This is kind of a chart that I made many years ago, shared it with students, and it's been very helpful to me as well. So some of our big things are, and this is universal for sheets, and it's also universal for Excel as well. So the big thing is, of course, we have sum is addition. And I know this is the fun part. I'm going to talk about math for a second. Everybody loves talking about math. No. But in a minute we'll talk about PowerPoint too and sharing. So this isn't going to be that long and detailed as the Excel class. Our big thing to know is that in normal math we do 2 plus 4 equals. So if we go to our in Excel and in Sheets you do equals 2 plus 4, and then it gives us an answer. So I'll go to A1, I'll type in equals 2 plus sign 4, I hit enter, and then boom, it gives me the answer. Now, how do I go back and see what the formula is? Well, I left click on that cell, and I'll actually see the formula in what's known as the formula bar. That's this up here. Now if I want to make any kind of changes, I can left click in the formula bar, or I can double click in that cell and it'll pop up and let me make changes to it. Our blinking cursor will show up. Okay, so just kind of realize that not everything is shown in Excel. And do realize that you'll see Excel spreadsheet and it'll say total or grand total. Just realize where it says total or grand total, that's just for us, and you can type that in. I've had some people in the past that go, well, that's where the total goes because I wrote the word total. That's not how that works. But that, there you go right there. Everything else according to font size and different section is very similar to what we've been discussing. The big thing to know is addition is sum. There's an auto sum program, but we're going to do it by hand, and I'll show you the other way too. Minus sign means subtract. Okay. Division, there's no character on the keyboard, so it's a / means divide. And because X is just normally talking, X is multiplication here on the star here is multiplication. So these are your main things to remember: plus sign addition, minus sign subtraction, / division, and star, which is above the number 8, is multiplication. Okay. Now another thing to know is that when working with our cells, what we should really do is we shouldn't really be putting in numbers. We should really be putting in the cell name. Okay, this will make it very easy for us to later make changes. So we can actually go in here, change a number in a cell, and then the math all works out because Excel and Sheets is kind of a visual calculator. Okay, so it makes it very easy to make changes later, and then the whole thing works. And in the Excel class, I actually do a budget with selling candy bars for a week, and all the math comes up, and you only have to make the spreadsheet once, and then just go in there and change the numbers and use it kind of like a template or a template. Okay. All right. So equals A8 plus B8 plus C8. Just realize that you can't use the minus sign or the dash, minus sign, dash, same symbol, because that's already taken up by the subtraction. So Excel and Sheets actually uses a colon. Okay. Now the other thing is, you'll see where it'll say sum on here. Just realize anything within the parentheses needs to be math or addition or subtraction, because those things need to be done first before we can multiply. Okay, or our proper order of operation. What does that mean? I do equals, open parentheses, I put minus or addition in the closed parentheses, and then outside I can do division or multiplication. Okay, if you're doing more than, if you're doing mixed. There you go. So I've used that for many years to help out, and I even recommend, if you use Excel a lot, maybe even to print that out or at least have it handy. Okay, so we're actually going to make a little bit of a simple monthly budget. Main thing, this is what people say that they want. Even when they come to the Excel class, they go, I really just want to write at the top a large number, or how much money I'm getting coming in, and then I subtract from that, and then I have a total at the end. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, and beyond what we do in the Excel class, basically you're talking about some major accounting. So we try to keep it kind of simple and easy. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. So here's our A and B columns. We're going to make this in a second. Here's our A and B columns, 1, 2, 3, 4 through 6 rows. And we have equals B2, which is B2 will be 3,000. B2 minus, and remember this total is what we want right here. So whatever is in the parentheses, when this finishes, it wants it to add it all together. B3, B4, B5, okay? And it's going to add this together and then subtract. We need to make sure the larger number, smaller number is being subtracted from the larger number so that we don't get a negative in any way. And then it's actually, this is actually the code for B6, okay? So let's do that. First one, we're going to call it monthly budget. I'm going to click up here, and I'm actually going to erase what's there. And if I click here, I can do the usual, where I click bold, change the font size, and I can even change the font if I want to. Oh look, and the ones that we downloaded, no, they're not there. But anyway, the ones that were listed on there, I think that might be a little too fancy for us. There we go, monthly budget, that looks good. Okay, and remember, it's saving all the time. All right, so we want to do money in. In an Excel class, I have a ton more tips. I'm just trying to keep this as simple so we can just cover, our main points here. Food, so A3 is food. And if you type in something and hit enter, it'll drop down to the next line. Fun, gas, and total. Fun, gas, total. And remember, when we type total, That's just for us, okay? Okay, so let's go back to our handout. Now, one of the things we need to do is we need to make sure that when we talk about money, we label it as money, or it'll be general and it won't. It's possible that when you're using units versus money, your math may not come out right. Right now, we just want to make sure it has dollar signs, and if there is anything that has any pennies involved, we'll definitely have that. So B2, we're going to write 3,000. Okay, I write 3,000 now. I'm going to show you how to do this a few different ways. So if I just write 3,000 and I go back and I say I need that to be dollars, I left click here, and all I do is I go up here and I click Format as Currency. Boom, and now it's set up with money. Okay, now you can do that beforehand. I'm going to do that with my next slide. So B3 needs to be what? B3 needs to be 1,200. So I'm going to click B3, click the dollar sign, and then as I type in just 1,200, I'm not going to type in any dollars, and when I hit enter, it's going to go ahead and change it to dollars. Okay. What's the next one? Fun is 550, and then gas is 600. So click the cell, currency, 550, enter. Okay. Click currency, 600. Wasn't it 600? Yeah, 600. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to tell it, take the big number, add all these together, and subtract these from the big number. All right. So where do we do this? We do this on B6. Okay. Now, as I actually start typing this out, there is an auto sum button, but like I said, most people, this is really what they want to know. They want to have a big number, and then they want to be able to subtract from it. And after you learn how to do this, you can pretty much make any budget that you want. So first we need to put our equals. And as we actually start typing, it's going to give us suggestions. So we want our big number, which is B2. And again, you could technically just type these numbers in, but this is so much better because once you program like the B6 cell, you can go in and change any of the numbers, which I'm going to show in just a second, and it'll make changes to it. So B2, and it gives us it shows us the cell, what it's doing, minus, and I'm going to do open parentheses because I want to make sure that all of those are added together first. B3 plus, now it's in purple. Now B4 is in like a light blue. All right, and B5, and we close parentheses. There you go. So I want the B6 cell to be B2 subtract after it adds B3, B4, and B5 together, and close parentheses. And when I hit enter, boom, there's my number right there. Okay. Now, again, someone says, well, why don't I just write all these numbers on a sheet of paper? Trust me, one of the problems with this is that if you do that, if you make a mistake, you know, always view the double check, of course, double count, and if you come up with something different, then you need to start over. Okay. So this is a visual calculator. I can go in and say, okay, well, I found out that I actually made more money last week, or last month is what we're talking about here. So instead of 3,000, let's say I made 3,200. Hit enter. Okay. That changes our change here. And oh no, but I did find out I had too much fun. I spent $650 on fun, and then boom, it automatically does all the math for us. Okay, so this is why I go through the effort beforehand to make it connect to the cells and not actual numbers. Okay, and again, in the future, I could actually save this. You can actually create more than one sheet at a time. You click here, give it a name if you want to. You can click here and rename it. Let's say January or whatever. Duplicate it, have February, and look, if I go through here and I actually delete these numbers, now my template is waiting on me, and I can start typing in different numbers here, and I don't have to redo all of this again. Okay, I can use it as a template. Okay, so let's go back to our section here. That really is the main goal, and kind of the kind of a general quick overview, of course, of Excel. And next we're going to do PowerPoint. So any questions about that? Let's see. All right, so just kind of keep that in mind. Recommend kind of keeping the basic formula kind of sheet that I made a long time ago, kind of by your computer, or save it to your computer too. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about Google Slides, and then we'll finish up by talking about sharing our documents that we've created with others. Okay. So Google Slides, again, we're going to talk about stuff that looks very familiar, and we are going to make a little bit of a project. And we have our project set up down here, which we're going to talk about the moon. We'll talk about the moon. All right, so let's go ahead and just kind of realize that any of these that we've opened up and created, they're automatically saved, and we actually could do the share button, which we'll talk about more in just a minute. Okay, so look for our Excel class, because I delve a lot more into this, creating different budgets and things like the fill handle, and of course making a calendar pretty quickly. Lots of things that we talk about, so definitely come and join me for that class too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. Remember, it auto saves. And now I'm going to go hit new, and I'm going to hit Google Slides. Google Slides pops up. Oh, it shows it a different way. That's cool. So oh shoot, I forgot. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Let's go back, and if I go to Google Docs, it'll actually show some of the stuff I just created and stuff. So if I do go back to Sheets, hold on, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself because I know everybody wanted to talk about the add-ons, because that's kind of the unique thing. So if I go over here to add-ons and I say get add-ons, you'll see they are different. Okay. So they are different. Of course, this is more focused on tables, of course, accounting. Okay. Mail merger, making forms. Oh, this is neat. Something about making it into a quiz. It does do the Avery Labels. Something about Chromebook Better. So something to make it a little bit easier to use. Some special coding ones. Looking for duplicates, it says. Let's see, class support, QR code generator, whole bunch of different stuff, okay? Building a mobile app from Sheets, interesting. Template tabs, all kinds. Adding a photo gallery. There's a timesheet creator. So as you see, they're a little different. They're specific, of course, to this one program, and it's not just the same as Word. And again, if this program doesn't do something that you want, there may be an add-on that will do that, okay? Let's go ahead and let's click New, and I'm going to say Slides. Now on the right side, and even with the PowerPoint, you'll see that I'll talk about just kind of keeping it general to begin with, getting my information on here, and then I can easily change either the theme or the styles, even the transitions as well. And here's some suggestions they already have out of the box about our different themes. Okay, but we know what we're going to do, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep it kind of blank right now. So I'm going to hit the close button there. You can hit theme here and it'll pop up again. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's walk through this. So all this should seem very similar, but the thing is, Google, well, PowerPoint and slides in general, Google Slides, they actually use text boxes. Okay, so the text boxes is what we do. Word, when we deal with pictures, we kind of have to change the wrapping of the picture. Well, Google Slides, when we insert a picture, it just kind of floats around and we can put it where we want. Okay, a lot of the times, even this handout here, as you can clearly see, I actually made this in PowerPoint. Okay, just because it's a lot easier dealing with the different graphics, the screen captures, you know, moving pictures around exactly where you want them to be, and it just makes it a lot easier. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's talk about so let's go ahead and we'll talk about this and start our project here. So let's create a simple presentation. So this is the presentation we're hoping to create. So first we should have the title slide. And I'll give you a big hint with the slides in general is that, and it also works with the themes, you need to make sure that you know which type of slide style that you want to use. So by default, it gives us a title slide. So I'm going to say our project's the moon. So we're going to say the moon. And I'm going to say bye. Now we'll do a smiley face. Smiley face. So minimize this back. So here we are. We have the moon. That's our title slide, and then we need another slide. At any point, we can actually go back. Where's my thing? That's text boxes. There it is. It's layout. So you see where it says layout. At any point, I could actually go and change the slide style or layout. Okay. And later, when you play around with the themes, okay, you'll actually see there may be certain frames, not frames, but certain slides that it'll change the way the text views. It may have a graphic. It may not have a graphic, depending on if you decided to make it a title page or if a title and content page, and these are the different types: section header, title and body, a comparison, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so the big clincher here is when you start off your project, and I actually have to make a new slide. So if I do insert, gosh, they don't just have it right there, do they? Like PowerPoint. Okay, so I go to layout, and the next one I want is a title and body. So I'm going to click that. No, hold on. It's my undo button. Aha, there it is. I knew it would be just right here. So if I click this, it should give me a title and body one. But if I click the drop down arrow, then I can be more specific about which style I want. Okay, so I want title and body. Now, when I do most of the themes, I'll say most of them. If I choose a certain theme and its title layout is supposed to be a certain way, it'll change this, and then the other slides, you know, have their own layout too. If you don't like that, you can actually go in here, and once you have your text, you can click the layout and just basically change it. Okay, this will affect the slide. Okay, especially if you already have you know, a theme created. Okay, or theme chosen, I should say. All right, so we have the moon. When I play around with it, I think that'll make a little more sense. So we have the moon, and I'm actually going to cheat. I'm just going to copy paste my text. Okay, so our goal here is we're going to get the moon is, and I may change around some of the settings of our font. We also have it with bullet points. Okay. So our next slide, we got to click it. And we need to move this. Can I do a drag? No, I got to do the copy paste. All right, so the moon is, okay. Now let's go ahead and let's just view our PowerPoint. So if I go up here to the top right, start presentation, and it kind of opens it up in a separate window, and it skipped my thing because I clicked. So there we go. There you go. So there's your PowerPoint. Just clicking it goes to the next one. Now, I want it to be if I want it to be full screen, I click down there. And then of course we actually can do click and it'll go to the next slide just like that. One big tip I can recommend in general is if you're doing some kind of PowerPoint is that the arrow to the left on your keyboard allows you to flip back to the previous slide. Okay, you can hit space bar, and you can hit the right arrow, but to go back, just hit the left arrow pointed to the left. Okay, and that'll help you a lot because sometimes you'll even skip a slide and someone says, hey, I had a question about that slide, and you're like, oh no, how do I go back? There you go, right there. Okay, so now let's talk about our other part here. And we also want to mess with our fonts. So the moon, if I click the moon is, might change our font. It's bold right now. Make it a little something a little more interesting. That's a little too. Sometimes you don't know what it is, just like that's not what I want it to be. Oswald? Okay. That looks kind of cute, I guess. Made it bigger. Of course, I could still make it bigger. Okay. Now, another thing is to realize this is like PowerPoint. So, of course, if we actually want it to have more text on the screen, past what our text boxes are, we go up here, we click Insert, and we insert a new text box. So I'm actually going to be down here. Let's see, what should I say? I'm just going to say hello Hello to the moon. So here's my text box. I can change the size of it. I can move it around just like the other ones. Okay. And now I can have the text anywhere I want it to be. It could even be down here if I want it to. Whoop. I grabbed the wrong place. So hello to the moon. All right, now let's go back. We actually want to add our picture of the moon here. Now, and then we'll talk about the transitions on here. And we'll also talk about our add-ons as well. Okay, so let's add our moon picture. Now, if you don't have a picture on your computer, okay, or the Google Drive, and see all this is on there, or a picture on Google Photos, here we go. We do search the web, and it will actually search Google Images for us. Okay, so I'm going to say moon. Murder. It's actually nice. But more of like a scientific. Oh, a lion in front of the moon. Yeah, so. Ooh, that one's neat. That's the different phases of the moon. Very good picture. Man in the moon. Okay, so I think the first one will look pretty good. We do insert. Oh, it's too big, isn't it? It's too big. So we have to do the same thing we did before. Grab the corner, resize it, and then we can move it anywhere we want. Whoop. I think I did something weird. Let's see. What did I do? All right, move it anywhere I want. I don't know, it did some kind of duplicate. All right, so there's our moon picture. Looks similar to our handout. I see the moon and the moon sees me. See if I make it a little bigger here. Or that. Now, of course, we could add a different border to it. Like a light gray. Maybe if we can notice that. It'll make it feathery a little bit. I would tell you this, in general, if you do decide to get more into like color themes or anything, giving a picture a border that matches the same color as the theme you chose actually will bring everything kind of together, and it'll give it a nice look. All right, so let's mess around with our themes, see what suggestions they have. And now, because I've actually already created my document, when I actually click the themes here, I can actually see what they look like. And again, why is this slide and this slide, why do they look so different? It's because of the layout. So if I actually went here and changed the title, if I changed it to, when I click layout, you'll see the preview here. Do you see that? So could I make these two look the same? Absolutely. I just have to go and change the layout. And that's my big secret about dealing with themes with PowerPoint, or of course it's here in the sheets. Let's see. So some of these you really just have to see what it looks like. Let's see, import a theme. Oh, those are ones, okay, never mind that, I'm sorry. Now it'll make changes to the font. Of course, we can go in there and click that and change it back or change it to something else. I like these. I will tell you, I think PowerPoint has a whole lot more kind of diversity with their templates that they have set up, or of course the themes that come with PowerPoint, because those you can actually change the color scheme of it. I don't believe you can do that on here. But one thing you can do, and I actually kind of recommend this, is that you can take a picture, set it as the background, and see this, we'd actually have to change the color of our text here. Where's my text color? No, that's not what I want. I mean, I could do that. That would kind of work. Change the fill. What is that? That's like a bluish. Yeah. Don't know if I like that much. Anyway, it kind of blends in a little bit there. So again, if you choose this, try to choose something that chooses your back theme. There you go, right there. Now, this is a big thing that I will do in my presentations, is I'll insert an image. Let's look for, let's see. Oh, I really like that phases of the moon. I think I can get that to work. So if I do insert, image, it's already on moon. Where's the phases of the moon one? Okay, thank you. Hey, I might want something with a little more texture. And that's, I'll try it. Okay, so if I take this, and I'm sorry, I actually have an add-on that does an auto zoom. Let me turn that off real quick. And then it shouldn't, okay, there we go. So if I actually take this and I send it to the back, and here, where is that on here? Yeah, there we go. So under position, no, we don't want that. This is a great one if you do have a picture, making it transparent. Kind of send it to the background if you need something that's lighter. Of course, our setting here is as a dark background, so we don't really need to do that. But I want it to be sent to the back. So give me a second. There it is, there's our order. I'm going to send it back, send to back. Now, whoop. Yeah, this isn't working out. I don't think that's really what I want. Unless I dragged it up here. But then it looks just kind of like a picture. Alright, that's not what I want. I want to try a different one. Because I want some texture is what I want. Okay, I kind of like, I'll try this one. So if you take a picture, make sure it's kind of a high quality picture. Make it cover your whole background. Okay. I can't stretch that any further than that. Okay, I can normally do that. I don't know why it's not letting me do it now. But anyway, and I take it and I send it to the back. The order, send it to the back. And I actually, remember I did the transparent, we were looking at the transparency before. transparency. Not doing exactly what I wanted to do, but basically I think you're kind of getting the gist of it a little bit here. Use your text box. You can set things to certain areas, and I actually give this a border, and I might choose, what if I give it a white border? What does it look like? Okay. But if you actually set it up, have it in the back, make the picture not so bright, that you can actually kind of make it kind of like a theme. So if you did have this picture on, like even the front, there we go. That's a little more what I was talking about. So I'm just kind of using it, and because I've made it transparent, I'm not sure why it won't let me get it any bigger. Okay, there, that's what I want. So I want it to cover the whole one. I'm not sure why that second slide wouldn't let me do it. Maybe it's because I grabbed the top. Okay, so if you chose something that did have like the moon on it, or you could have it this way. Now that, okay. Anyway, I usually choose something that has a texture on it. And then send it to the back. There we go. And now look, I've actually made my own template. So now when we actually look at it, it actually looks like it fits in a little bit more than just kind of our basic section here. Okay. Now, a big thing is also our transitions. Now, these are not as fancy as our PowerPoint ones, but there's some fun ones on here too. Kind of get it to dissolve a little bit, and it'll give us a little bit of a preview. Let's see. Okay, go to the next one. Fade in, slide in. Let's see, cube. Gallery. It looks about the same. Looks like I was supposed to do something to that. Flip. Let's see, or none. Let's do the second one. So when we go from one to the other, it'll make a little bit more sense. About flip. There we go. Okay. So that's kind of our transitions from one to another. Not as many as like in PowerPoint, but still it can actually work pretty well for us. I want to see the gallery one because I think that was supposed to. There we go. Okay, so that was a little bit more animated. What about cube? Yeah. Kind of like the flip one better. Okay, so here's a presentation. Now let's talk about our add-ons. Okay, so let's get add-ons, and then we'll finish up by talking about sharing. So a whole bunch of little neat things on here. Some of them I never even really played around with or anything, but it gives you some really neat extra things that you can do. Save slides as a GIF, make it into a video. Unsplash images. There we go. Some of these you have to click on to figure out what there's a math editor. What is Slides Toolbox? Okay, so this lets you go a little bit more in depth. See if they have a video here. Okay, let's look at our overview here. Lets you cut the clicks on repeated tasks and brings up an organizer and unifying data on Google Slides. Okay, so it's just a little bit of extra thing. If we scroll down, scratch blocks. Oh, neat. Is that? Oh, it sure is. Cool. Create and insert blocks for MIT Scratch Programming Language into your docs and slide just by typing. This add-on helps you generate blocks for MIT's Scratch Programming Language and quickly insert them into your Google Docs slide, creating these blocks just from typing. That's cool. Google Translate. Let's connect that with Google Stock Photos. Let's see what else here. British Library, interesting. Selfie camera. Clip art add-ons. Ooh, icons. New fonts. Star Trek text for some reason. That's interesting. Star Wars, excuse me. Oh, I said Star Trek. Oh, that's neat. The crawl. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so lots of things you can do. So even if you can't get it to really do exactly what you want to here, you could actually make it into something that, what? That's right, into something that could be downloaded as an add-on. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at our PowerPoint, our slides presentation. Hold on, I gotta make it full screen. All right, so welcome everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the moon. Whoosh. So there we go, right there. The moon is 238. It causes the tides. It's home to water. We say, hello, moon. Okay? I think that looks pretty nice. What do you guys think? All right, so, I actually have to hit escape key to get out of here. Yep, sure do. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about our share. So sharing and teams. So the big thing about this is not only can I take something that I've created and just go up in here and share. Give it a name. Yes, it needs a name. Okay. Give it a name. Talk about who I want to share it with. Put their names up there. And then I can actually control who sees the document as well. So let's talk about that. So basically, there's certain types of sharing. Okay. The first one is basically can edit. They can do any changes they want. One really cool thing is that we can actually view a change history, and we can actually go back and undo those changes if we need to. Okay. If they're editing, if they can suggest an edit. Okay. So this is great to work with teams. This would be really helpful working with the situation where you might have somebody that you want them to look at a document, want them to see that you're making changes to something so they can read it, but you want to make sure that they can't edit anything. Or maybe they can add, so they can suggest edits, or they can add comments as well. And the can view can't make any changes. They can just view it, and of course you can have a whole team of people. It may be somebody that's like a team leader or something that just says, I just want to see it, or like a supervisor says, I want to see it. I don't want to edit the presentation or edit the spreadsheet, or of course edit the document as well. I just want to be able to make sure to see that y'all are working on it. Okay. So not only can you easily share files, the collaboration in teams is really big, and I have a few little quick videos that kind of will cover that, because I can't really demonstrate that, but I can show it in a video now, can't I? So we'll kind of check that out.
We're glad you joined Drive. Here's how you and your team can get started. Drives are spaces where your files live in the cloud. My Drive is your personal space for files and folders that you own. Shared drives are for files and folders your team is collaborating on. Both My Drive and shared drives can be accessed from the web, on mobile, or directly from your desktop using the Drive desktop app, which works just like a regular desktop folder. Changes you make here are always synced across your devices and in the cloud. Use the New button to upload files, create folders, or create new content with Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides. Drive supports over 100 different file formats and works seamlessly with Microsoft Office, so you can comment, assign tasks, and even edit Microsoft files right from Drive. When you work in a Docs, Sheets, or Slides file, you're able to collaborate side by side with your team in real time. And version control is automatic for every file. You can see past changes and even restore a previous version by going into a file's version history. When you're ready to share your work, just click the Share button at the top of any document, or right-click on any file or folder in Drive. You can invite people individually and choose their permission level, or you can turn on link sharing so that anyone with the link can view or comment on the file. That's it. Happy collaborating.
Okay, so let's talk about organizing our content.
Drive has two different spaces for files, depending on who owns them. My Drive is for your personal files that you own, and these can be shared individually or via link sharing. Shared drives are for files and folders your team is collaborating on and accessing often. These files are owned at the team level, and every member of the shared drive has automatic access, even if someone leaves the team. My Drive and shared drives give you the flexibility to control where files live based on your needs.
Now, like I said, there is a way that you can actually edit. So other people have made changes. How can you view who made those changes, how to undo those changes? This little video talks about that.
With Drive, your entire team is literally on the same page, and version control isn't a problem because every file has a rich version history. Granular changes are recorded and color-coded by person, so it's easy to see who made what changes and when. The drop-down lets you see even minute-by-minute versions of the file, and you can always copy content from an older version over into the current one, or just restore a version exactly the way it was. Using version history in Drive, you can work in the same document and create a single source of truth for your team.
Okay. for support, extra comments, more collaboration. This is a great resource. And it actually goes into, and a lot of the screenshots I've taken, it kind of goes into that switching from Docs, using the other parts. Here's like Google Docs here. It goes more into more specifically about all the different opportunities, I guess you could say, the features on here to be able to use, and also edit, change, zoom, making a public form, someone to answer. That's a great one right there. So basically you could actually make your own kind of question form for someone, like an event, having someone fill out information instead of having to worry about making a big website or whatever. You'd actually just make your own form. And it kind of goes into all of that, and it all being online and accessible to makes it really good. So yeah, there's the forms there. How to use Google Forms, troubleshooting, save them up, ask questions, response, all that kind of good stuff. So that kind of goes beyond what we covered today. But yeah, so any final questions? I know we have covered a lot this afternoon. This is still kind of new to a lot of folks, just being able to have this ability to share your documents and not have to send files back and forth through an email service or anything and saying, oh, did you get this version, they get that version. But it really is the future. Of course, Microsoft with their 365, but I still feel like it's a little bit underutilized. So even companies that do have this, they're paying for this. Are their employees, are you, are I, are we actually using this feature? Or are we still kind of sending an email to someone and then saying, well, this is that version or not? So do realize it's a lot to learn here. It's a lot to cover. So we've covered a lot. We covered talking about Google Drive and Google Docs. We also talked about the Google Editor, uploading using Microsoft Office files, Google Drive, Google Docs. We created a simple document. In Google Sheets, we created a simple budget. Google Slide, we created a simple presentation. And we also covered sharing files with teammates, the different levels that are on there, and also some of the other services, and a little bit better explanation of what Google has to offer with that. So again, the handout is in the chat. Feel free to download that, and I'll quickly talk about the classes we have going on tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to do eBay and Facebook Marketplace internet buying and selling, and also we're going to be doing birding, so come join me for that. It's a lot of fun. Usually with the library, we actually have a inside is half the class, and then we go outside. So we've got some videos. I'm going to be posting some fun videos to share, and also videos I've created myself and recorded as well. So definitely come join me for all our classes here virtually as we're still staying home and staying safe. And please share our videos with friends and family. And a really fun one is we're going to be doing the video editing class again. And then on the 20th, we're going to be doing Introduction to Raspberry Pi Computing and Project Ideas. And I've got some new projects we're going to kind of work on. In next month, we may actually set up Raspberry Project Time, just kind of an open time where I'll be working on different projects, and I'll list those in the handout, and you can kind of follow along with me if you have the parts and everything. Or, of course, you can watch the video later and kind of do that. Okay, so it's kind of a new idea we got going on about doing a project class, and each week, basically week or two, every other week or whatever, we'll be doing different projects. Okay, again, do realize our libraries are open with limited services and hours. Curbside holds pickup is available. You can go to gchrl.org for details. Call the library with questions Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please don't forget to like our Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll be up to date on the most current information. We're currently right now on our YouTube channel. If you're trying to find our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and search for GCHRL videos and it'll pop right up. Okay? So we've come to the end of class. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see everybody tomorrow at 11 o'clock and then at 2:30. Okay? Have a great Wednesday and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.